welcome back once again, live from the Bell. Where are we?
Belgrove Plantation
here
in King George, Virginia.
Oh my God, we are at the Sage Paracon, and folks, what an amazing weekend it's been. I mean, the lectures have been spectacular. The people who are attending this has been spectacular, and right now, a guy I just met this weekend, Kelvin Von Crush, who is, in fact, people, a skeptic of the paranormal. He is a tattoo artist and a collector.
Yeah. That's
Of
occult and paranormal objects related to history.
history.
I don't collect things from Goodwill that people say give them a bad vibe.
Right.
I collect actual relics from our combined paranormal past.
There you have it, folks. But Kelvin, I mean, to be a skeptic at a paranormal event, I mean, great.
Mhm.
You know why? Because in the paranormal world, we need people to help us take a step back and to really question what it is we're doing as an investigators and as people that just truly believe in the paranormal. So I've had the opportunity to talk to Kelvin all weekend, and it's been a great pleasure getting to know you, listening to you. I mean, my God, you are so full of knowledge, and there is nothing anybody can say to you that you cannot back up with just pure logic or just, knowledge, really.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much.
So really, I mean, what has brought you to coming to these paranormal events? I mean, besides, mutual friends like MJ, we all love MJ. So what is it that brings you here to give your side of the story, and really, like, tell us, like, what is it about the paranormal that you really don't think that's is out there?
All right. I mean, so my journey into the world of paranormal actually started off as a believer.
Okay.
Growing up, I did have strong faith. I was raised Catholic, and my family actually did have strong beliefs in the paranormal. Okay. We did have a bit of mysticism.
Right.
We had stories about ghosts
Right.
and demons, and especially Ouija boards.
Right.
And I always wanted to encounter those things for myself.
Right.
And I practiced a little bit of divination as a child. I was obsessed with cartomancy.
Okay.
I used to read my fortunes with regular playing cards. When I was 9 for Christmas, I asked for my first Ouija board. And I mean, I was obsessed with paranormal programming on TV, Unsolved Mysteries, Sightings on Fox. Sightings on Fox was one of my favorites. Leonard Nimoy's In Search Of. I had do you know the Time Life series? Mysteries of the Unknown.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All those. X-Files, of course. X-Files being a drama, but it was classic. Everybody who loved the paranormal watched the X-Files.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because at that time, like, X-Files was totally different because they were talking about a topic that, which we're now getting more information of, but aliens, that was a huge thing. Like, a lot of people didn't talk about aliens back then.
And I mean, I loved horror movies and everything like that, So I was always passionate about the subject matter. And slowly over time, I developed more of a passion for science and stuff like that. So my religious beliefs, my beliefs in the paranormal, my beliefs in science, they started having a very, very real internal struggle with me. And I guess I would say I turned into more of an agnostic believer, where I thought there was a very real probability that these things could exist. While I didn't believe in divinity anymore, I still had the hope that there was a soul, there was an energy, that spirit could exist. So I started thinking, maybe I can welcome this kind of energy into my home. And I started collecting things that people in the paranormal field normally tell you not to mess with. Ouija boards, occult objects, things like that. And the more and more I delved into the history of it and did more research and welcomed these items into my home, the more I started getting doors open to me, and I started meeting more people who were professionals in the business, people who were experts, people who had done their homework, and I started listening and learning, and I started learning more myself. And then I became very good friends with Bob Murch. Bob Murch is the
Robert Murch.
Robert Murch. And he's the world's foremost expert on Ouija boards. And we were doing a a convention on Ouija board. It's called WouijaCon. And I had mentioned to Bob previously that I thought I wanted to become an educator in the paranormal field.
Right.
And he gave me my first break. He let me speak at that convention. And he thought I did a good job. And anytime people asked him for a recommendation for a paranormal convention, he would throw my name in the hat. And a lot of people gave me a chance.
Yep.
And I've been honing my craft ever since.
Yep.
Coming out. But I got to tell you, the more I'm around paranormal places, people who claim to have paranormal abilities, people who have had paranormal experiences, the less and less I believe, and the more I believe it's a psychological response and something that can be explained with science.
Right. So yeah, that's one thing we did not touch on, but you are a part of the Historical Ouija Board Society
Absolutely.
in Massachusetts, right?
Actually, the Talking Board Historical Society.
The Talking Board, yes.
Yep. Talking Board Historical Society was founded in 2013 by a group of people who are primarily collectors of Ouija boards. That's how we all met. We all met on Facebook. And we're dedicated to preserving the history, people, and places involved with making the Ouija board such an iconic staple, not only in the paranormal field, but in pop culture
Right.
the world over.
Right.
And we are the only organization of such kind in the world.
Yes.
And I can't tell you how rewarding and fascinating it is. So, tbhs.org if you guys are on your computer.
Absolutely.
Use
You
your
know,
Google phone.
Yes.
Shameless plug if I can.
No, you know what? Because, I mean, Ouija boards go back huge part of the paranormal world because, they were originally introduced in every store as a game. And, I mean, essentially it is a game, but then it became a story. And now, could you please just tell us briefly, like, how it transformed into a kid's game into being known as this way to summon demons into this world? Like, how did it transform so rapidly?
All right, so we have to understand that spirit communication as a whole really started with the advent of spiritualism in 1848 with the Spock sisters. Okay, they were really the first innovators of psychic mediumship. Okay,
Right.
Believing that a person could be a conduit and in between, a medium ground
Right.
for the living and the dead. And through that, people started experimenting with different forms of spirit communication. Spirit rapping became prevalent, and via spirit rapping, we were transmitted via spirit seance the makings of a planchette. The planchette was born before the Ouija board.
Right.
Okay.
As we learned yesterday.
Yep. And then through that process, we developed, hey, we can just write the alphabet out first and then use the planchette to point to the alphabet individually. And it became a tool that was accessible to everybody.
Right.
And because of the science behind the Ouija board, it's a psychological response called the ideomotor effect. It's a game that works without batteries. It is something that you can play with that will seemingly move on its own. And depending on your belief system and your intent that's applied, you will get different results. So if the Ouija board didn't really seemingly move on its own and it didn't provoke this psychological response, it never would have remained popular
Right.
for well over 100 years. You know,
Right.
that's why it's an iconic figure in a culture the world over now.
Right.
It's inspired so many legends
The legend.
and superstitions and movies and
Yes.
songs.
Right.
Guys, you have no idea. You have no idea until you dig deep how influenced American culture is by the Ouija board. Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yeah.
Alcoholics Anonymous, the 12 steps were transmitted via Ouija board.
Wow.
Yep. Alice Cooper. Alice Cooper got his band name via a conversation with the Ouija board. It's the name of the spirit of a witch that communicated with them via Ouija board.
Wow.
You know, people automatically assume the worst of Ouija boards.
Right.
When the Ouija board first came out, there was always the connotation that it was a tool for communicating with the other side.
Right.
But in my tenure as a collector, I've seen so many photos of people smiling and happy opening Ouija boards on Christmas Day. In the 1800s, I once had a photograph in my collection of people playing Ouija board on Christmas Day.
Wow.
Women dressed in Victorian outfits playing with Ouija board on Christmas Day. It was signed and dated on the back.
Right.
You know, the Ouija board at one point had rules printed on the back that said it was an instruction for men and women to play at the same time. It was best used with a man and a woman sitting with their legs touching with the board in between their lap. And at this time, that was very unheard of. You know, men and women were supposed to keep their distances.
Right.
The Ouija board was the first social experiment. It was a dating game, you know. Of course, men were going to go out and spend the $250 to buy a Ouija board for the chance to get close to the cute girl at the
hey,
party.
honey, I got a Ouija board.
Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of people say, you know, oh, it was The Exorcist that made the Ouija board problematic in the eyes of society. And that's not true.
Right.
The Ouija board was problematic from the start because with any occult practice, anything mystical, it's up to an individual's interpretation and intent.
Right.
And we had people who were getting messages from the Ouija board that were telling them to kill themselves.
Right.
The first person to ever kill themselves, I think, was in the very early 1900s. I forget her name, but she's actually buried in Connecticut. I actually found her grave.
Oh wow!
Yeah. I found it in the middle of COVID. I had nothing better.
Well,
better to do.
Couldn't go anywhere.
I was creeping around cemeteries the whole time in COVID. They're nice places to visit. No one's there, and everyone there is dead, and they're a great listener. You got to get anything off your chest, go visit a cemetery.
No, that is so fascinating, and I mean to learn the history of the Ouija board. And actually, you had a big part of the creation of the world's largest Ouija board.
You know what? I didn't have a big part of it. I was hired muscle.
Hired muscle.
I was. That's it. I came out to help a near and dear friend achieve one of his dreams.
Okay.
The creator of that and the guy who put his blood, sweat, and tears into it, and I'm sure it was all of those fluids combined, is Rickamorta Shrek. He's a fellow tattooer out of New Jersey, House of 1,000 Tattoos, and he took, I think it was 96 pieces of plywood, and he made the artwork for the board and projected it onto the pieces, and countless buckets of black paint. And in the middle of winter, in freezing cold, in a warm garage, just busted his buns painting this thing. And then they had to ship it up in the back of a truck, and we put it together in Boston Common in October. And we tried getting Guinness Book of World Records involved, and you wouldn't believe the bending over backwards Guinness Book of World Records would like you to do for them. However, Ripley's Believe It or Not was very interested, and they were great people, and they came out. So Rick was featured in Ripley's Believe It or Not, and we're all very, very proud of him for it. I'm very lucky to consider him a friend, and I'm very lucky to do it. And I got turned into a meme along with everybody else on the crew.
Well, we found out that Kelvin Von Crush is a meme out there on Facebook. So, folks, there you go. Find it out there, and
you can barely tell it's me. It was raining and pouring. I've got a hoodie and a hard hat on, but I'm there. I'm also featured in the Ripley's Believe It or Not. They had a drone fly up and take a picture from overhead. And dude, guys, it's so far in the air. But there is a very handsome, big-boned fellow in a black hoodie. And you can see me. Can't tell it's me, but I know I'm there.
So there you have it. He's a part of the photo. That's awesome. We've also find out you have a very interesting collection. You have a couple of hearses, or do
No, I don't have the hearses anymore.
But you got a tattoo of the one that we were talking about.
Yep.
So tell us the famous body that was carried in this.
Patsy Cline. Yeah.
There we go.
I footed the bill for the purchase of this hearse. It was the first vehicle I ever purchased. My roommate swore he was gonna put the elbow grease into making this car pristine again. We were walking down the street. We saw it in somebody's backyard. He wanted to buy it. We knock on the door. He says, "This is the hearse that took Patsy Cline to the grave." And I think it cost $2,000.
At that time, you had another hearse, and you named
my other roommate. Yes, Tim. He had a very masculine shaped hearse. I believe it was a 76 Cadillac hearse. And he named that one Herman. And we named the pretty one, what I think was, might have been a 69. Lily. So Hermione Lily from the Monsters.
There we, and that is interesting. So we started
Here's
this.
another fun fact. I wasn't well versed in the spelling of the word hearse, and there is a company that produces car parts called Hearst, and
Yep.
I swore up and down that the make and model of the car was Hearst as well. Well, I made a bet, and this was before smartphones and everything like that, and we still had dial-up internet. And I said, I think you guys are wrong. I think it's Hearst. And they go, make a bet, bro. And I go, what do you want to bet? And they go, well, if you're wrong, you have to dress as a woman and go out to dinner with us at Denny's. I go, I'll take that bet. I was a little overconfident. And sure as shit, it's Hearse. And I will never forget that for the rest of my life, because I like to think I'm a decently handsome man, but I am an ugly woman. And I know that for a fact. The staff at Denny's was rather amused.
Oh, that is amazing.
Yeah.
So at the beginning of this weekend, this has been a very unique weekend, like a paranormal event I've never been to before.
Me neither.
So we started the weekend off with a Jeopardy speaker theme. And so they brought out interesting facts about each of the speakers that are here in this. And I found something out about Kelvin that I thought is absolutely fascinating, is you love to pet animals that should not be petted at like you go places and you have a goal in mind to pet animals.
I do.
Where did this come from?
I've always loved petting animals. My whole life I've loved animals. And I hate rules. I hate being told what to do. And I have the philosophy that every zoo is a petting zoo if you ain't a bitch. And if I can reach the animal, I'll pet it. Now, within reason. I also keep track. I did have a running tally, and I had a list of all the animals that I've also been bit by in the process of petting them. I do remember ostrich for sure. I have been bit by a warthog as well. Nothing venomous thus far, but I've recently visited a snake handling church in Tennessee, and I was so hoping they were still going to be practicing snake handling. Are you familiar with snake handling?
Yes, very much.
So yeah, it's a practice that is quickly vanishing. Okay. There's not very many churches that still practice it, and unfortunately, the pastor who used to take up serpents had passed last year. And we were hoping that somebody else in the congregation was still going to do it. But if there was a chance that they were going to let other people partake in this, I was going to give it a go. So that might have been the first time that Calvin Von Crush met his match as far as animals that he should not be petting. But yeah, I think I've pet beluga whales. Definitely all kinds of, a couple kinds of sharks. Rays, stuff like that. The touch tank at the aquarium, I'll push little kids out of the way. I don't care, man. Yeah, they're like, Uncle Calvin touch something. Pick up a sea urchin.
So I'm going to ask you right now, on your bucket list of animals, what is the one animal you have on your bucket list that you want to touch?
Oh, definitely a rhino and an elephant. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah. I would.
Elephants, I mean, I don't see them as vicious animal. I mean, yeah, they can be, but it's like any other animal in the world. They feel threatened. Of course, they're going to defend themselves.
You know what? I used to actually collect items related to circus and sideshow history as well. And I was lucky to interact and meet and pick the brains of a couple people who had worked with elephants.
Yeah.
They were trainers. And from what I gathered from them is elephants are very, very intelligent. Some people think animals are just dumb animals and stuff like that. But elephants do have a sentience to them. They're very, very emotional. Some people even say they have mystical abilities. There's been reports that they have genetic memory that is passed down from mother to child, and that the children can inherit memories of places that they've never been to if the mother were to perish. That offspring can still lead the pack too. They have funerals for each other. They have just ways of communicating that we don't really understand. So I would love to encounter that. It's a intelligent consciousness on the planet. And yeah, I mean, sure, do I have issues with a higher life form like that being in captivity and stuff like that? Actually, yeah. But I was told that elephants do realize at any given moment they can hurt you. They know
yeah.
how strong they are. They
Yeah.
know how big,
Yeah.
but they're just as curious of you as you are of them.
Right.
You know,
Right.
they know what they're doing.
Right.
At any time the elephant wants to get out of something, it can. You know,
Right. So that's very interesting. So a rhino and an elephant.
I love
So,
rhinos. I love rhinos.
and they are very beautiful creatures. I would because looking at a rhino, I mean, it does give you a little sense of how big animals were back in the Jurassic era.
Oh,
I mean, very much smaller
Yeah.
compared to what we've known to know about dinosaurs, very
Mhm,
large
mhm.
creatures, but just their horns and their bodies. I mean, they're so
Mhm.
muscular. I think if I was to try to pet one animal, I would actually try to pet a hippopotamus. And I
Yeah,
mean, I see a lot
Yeah.
more they seem more vicious, but at the same time, they look like they just look so beautiful.
Hippos kill more people in Africa than most of the big predators and crocodiles and everything combined. They are just the most aggressive thing. Here's a fun hippo fact: Pablo Escobar, the drug warlord or whatever you want to call him, he loved hippos too, and he had a bunch of them imported to his home in South America. And when his home was raided, he just let them go into the river, and now we have wild hippos thriving in parts of the Amazon River that are disrupting the trade and fishing lines because they have no natural predators in the Amazon, and they are actually hurting people. They are a problem. We have a hippo problem in South America now.
Oh, there you have it, folks. You get educated.
You want to know about ghosts? You want to know about animals? I got you.
Come and visit Kelvin Von Crush. You are also a tattoo artist,
I am.
and I do
am.
love my tattoos.
Yep.
Where's your tattoo shop located?
So I do work at a great shop, Phoenix Ink Tattoo in Southington, Connecticut. So yeah, it's a 7-hour drive from here. Well, but you're from Canada, so I'm sure it's probably 7-8 hours from Canada too.
Well, I drove. I'll be up in Connecticut at the end of October. I did it last year. It's actually a 10-hour drive.
Oof.
But that's to Canville,
Uncasville, the casino. Yeah.
Yes, up in Mohegan Sun.
Mohegan Sun.
It's a 10-hour drive for us. But you know what? I will love to one day drive up there to get a tattoo for you to add to my collection of tattoos that I do have on me. But Kelvin, it's been an absolute pleasure to meet you this week and get to know you and to talk to you, because like I said, in the paranormal field, everybody has a voice, everybody has opinion. Skeptic, believer, whatever you are in this world and whatever your stance is on the paranormal, you know what? It's great that we have people out there like you who are talking about it and not just saying it behind their breath or behind the walls of their own house. You're actually out here talking to us and giving us your views on what you believe the paranormal really is. So thank you so much. And can you tell us possibly the next chance we're going to get to see you at a lecture? Yeah,
my next appearance is actually going to be at Sage Paracon UK. So definitely, if you're across the pond, come out and see it. If you would like to connect with me, please find me on Facebook. You can find me on 2 places on Instagram, at The Occult Collector for my paranormal adventures, and at Calvin Von Crush for my tattoo chronicles. So
now, when you go over to the UK, is there an animal you're going to try to pet?
No, I don't think there's any good animals in the UK. Maybe a badger. I think they got badgers there. They do have hedgehogs. They have wild hedgehogs. But I've had a hedgehog as a pet. But yeah.
I was gonna say, I mean, I've had one as a kid. Oh,
yeah.
I think I just swallowed a bug.
Oh, the bugs are out of control here.
Oh, I hope it is nothing too bad tasting, because I hate the aftertaste.
Hope it's not one of the stink bugs that's flying around here.
Yeah, I'll just have to
your breath would be abhorrent if you ate one of the stink bugs.
But Kelvin, thank you so much. And like I said,
and tbhs.org, of course, that's more important. If you're going to do anything with any of the information I've given you, please check us out. We're a nonprofit organization. Buy something from our store, donate generously. It helps us preserve the past.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, go down. There's an actual building you can visit, where a museum, right?
The museum is not owned by the TABHS, but it is owned by one of our founding members, John Kozik. He's very, very intelligent. He's a wealth of knowledge. handsome devil and a gifted musician as well, a very dear friend. Go there, give him a hug and kiss. Tell him Calvin Von Crush sent you.
And there you have it, folks. Once again, Kelvin Von Crush right here at Sage Paracon this weekend with us. Like I said, Kelvin, it was a great pleasure getting to know you. TPV Nation, go check this gentleman out. He will blow your mind with his knowledge and his side of the paranormal story. And in the meantime and in between time, folks, we like to say happy hauntings.